This is Build It Baby, the show for big ideas, brave pivots, and bold next chapters. So let's do it. Let's build it, baby. Hey there, Penelope Bent here. Welcome to Build It Baby. This is your space to slow down, tune in, and build from the inside out. Whether you're starting something new, reimagining what's next, or finding your way back to what matters most, you belong here. So welcome, and let's build it, baby. So here's my question for you. What is your money story? And the reason that I'm asking that question is that your relationship with money might be one of the most important relationships you will ever have in your build. Many times it is at the core of building any business, an amazing career, and in some instances, it even affects how you design your life. When you're building a business or a life, money will test you. It will pop up in the most unusual packages. And this isn't just about checking out your bank account, but this is about your beliefs about money. What are your fears about money? Does money equal your sense of worth? Is there an attachment there? Now, when we talk about just money off the top of our heads, most people focus only on the numbers, the revenue, what's the incoming funds, what's the expenses, what's the budget look like. But when you really look at building, it's not about just the money coming in and the money going out. It's about your decisions are many times based on your beliefs about the money. It's the very emotion that we may carry around about money. That emotion, that belief system directly affects our decision making in the build. So that's why I'm wanting you to take a really quick look, but an important look at your money story and ask yourself, is it helping you grow? Or could these beliefs and these thoughts about money, could they be keeping you stuck? Interestingly enough, we don't just handle money. We carry stories about it, stories we inherited, we absorbed, or those that we ran into, that were created through our experience. Think about this for a sec. What are the money scripts we've been listening to since we were kids? I know I've heard a billion of them. Money doesn't grow on trees. You got to work hard for every dollar. People with money are greedy. I'm not good with money. And the best one, money is at the root of all evil. These stories shape whether we undercharge. It can shape whether you overwork. And it can also, most importantly, it can really keep you in fear from taking bold steps in business. It can paralyze you. Not because that was your intention, but just because you've been carrying around this crappy story about money and you had no idea how it affected or made you afraid from maybe making bold moves in your life, for creating the bold life that you so deserve. And they could cause even additional bigger issues: fear of investing, guilt around success. Your beliefs about money directly impact your build, not only professionally, but personally. Do you have a thing about money? Even though I'm working hard and I'm bringing home a substantial amount of money, I can't possibly treat myself to a small little vacation that I so desperately need because, oh my God, if I'm away for 2 minutes, then the money will stop, the flow will stop, and there won't be any money there, so I can't possibly go on vacation. I mean, think about that. We've all had those moments where we're holding on so tight and we really don't realize why we're holding on so tight. What could we change that could maybe give us a little smoother, more confident ride? So these money wounds, they run deep. So I have to ask you and myself, because I've done this many times, who's running the show here? And you better be screaming, I am. I've asked myself that question. Am I making these decisions based on a wonderful member of my family, but that's just what they were stuck on? Or is this my show? Am I running the show? And I do everything that I can to get myself back into alignment and make sure that I understand that I don't have someone else's tapes running around in my head, that I'm running the show based on what I firmly believe about my relationship with money. So let's try to define your money story. What are the set of beliefs you've absorbed from childhood or perhaps cultural restrictions or even past experiences? And understand that these beliefs shape the way you think about money. So if they're shaping your world, are they shaping your world in the manner and reflecting back to you the world of your intention? Or are you stumbling over a belief that you could rethink and kind of reframe and make maybe a little smoother path for yourself? So the question is, how are your beliefs working for you? If your answer is not so good, let's rethink them. I think if you can identify where the belief that you're not comfortable with any longer came from, then you have a better chance of reframing it in a way that works better for you today. What was it like at home? Take a look at that for a minute. What were your parents' behavior about money? Was there a feeling of abundance, or was money always tight? I remember in my family, the most important piece was no one ever talked about money. I never heard my parents argue about money. Those were the days where, your laundry was not aired out in public, not even in front of your children. But instinctively, although the picture looked very, very pretty and my father was very successful in what he was doing, there was just still that underlying feeling of making sure that, that there wasn't a lot of waste. I always felt that intuitively, that not that money was tight, but that just everything that you wanted off the top of your head was not necessarily going to be delivered on the same day. Amazon wasn't going to be dropping stuff off at the house just because you put it in your cart. So I don't think I ever felt that there wasn't enough. It just there wasn't an abundance. And I always knew that working hard definitely equaled making enough money to be able to provide for family. And this isn't about blaming my parents. It's about discovering the ideas and the beliefs that we picked up along the way about money. So looking back and kind of reminiscing about what that felt like when you were a youngster or as you got into young adulthood. What was your experience with those around you with money? Because interestingly enough, money can represent control. It can represent safety and self-efficiency, especially if someone grew up with scarcity or instability. So money can be that safeguard that makes you feel safe now. Earning more can feel like proof that you're capable or in control, while earning less may trigger feelings of failure. You feel like crap because you're, not bringing home the numbers that you feel are socially acceptable within your group or within your world. And interestingly enough, the brain conflates self-esteem with financial stability because one often provides a temporary sense of safety or validation. So here's something I'd like to do for a minute. Let's take just a few minutes and look at a few of the beliefs that many have picked up along the way. One of them that is the most common is about your self-worth and that being connected to how much money you're making. So self-worth equals net worth, believing that your value is tied to your income. I see that all the time. So from an early age, many of us are taught, whether it's explicitly or subtly, that success equals financial achievement. And we've heard the work hard and you'll be rewarded, or you can't waste your potential. Parents or authority figures may have praised achievement over effort or character, which conditions the mind to associate being good or worthy with producing results or earning money. So I have a great story for you. So, I've mentioned this before. When I was, in my young adulthood, women going out and making money on their own was not exactly in vogue. And I always wanted to please my family. And I cannot tell you how many times my father, no matter how many years in business I was, I'd go up to Northern California and visit him for the holidays. And he would say, "So what exactly do you do for a living?" I mean, I know he knew exactly what I did for a living, but he would just always run his little commentary on, "What the hell are you doing with yourself?" And I remember when I had built the company, and after we did all the budgets and the taxes and we're doing all the P&L, the profit and loss statements that year. And it was the first time in my life that I had broken $500,000. I mean, I sat there and looked at that piece of paper from the accountant like, holy shit, really? Me, this little stupid chick from Sacramento, California with no college degree? I mean, I was blown away. I was so freaking excited about it. This is how stupid my belief was about my thought about money and how I wanted so to impress my father, is that I sent a copy of the P&L to my dad. It was like wanting to send your report card home. Like, wow, look at Pop. I went from my C plus and D minus and finally at 35 or whatever, I got some A's. I have built a company that made over $500,000 this last year. Now, that didn't mean I took it home, but that's how much money the company made. And like a dumb shit, I was still wanting to have him call me up and go, "Wow, girl, you did it. You're not really a dumb blonde. You've done something. You've accomplished something." And why I was surprised, which I should have never been surprised, I waited for the moment when that phone rang. I answered the phone. My dad goes, "Hey." I said, "Hey, Pop, how you doing?" Yeah, you got my package? Oh, wow. My father's response was, "So what the hell is this? I don't understand this. What kind of paperwork is this? Just a whole bunch of numbers, and I don't really understand what this is all about." And I remember in my mind, the part of me just wanted to cry, but the other part of me just sat there, and in my heart, I just chuckled. And I thought to myself, what the flock did you expect here? You're still at 35 going and sending paperwork like a report card home to your dad, hoping that he's going to give you a star. And the bottom line is he's never going to give you the star, because that's just not how the guy's wired. That's not what he thought that the role of a woman was. You're supposed to be home taking care of the babies and, making sure dinner was on the table at 5 o'clock. And I realized right then, it didn't matter what he thought. What mattered is what I thought, what I had accomplished. So even if through our lifetime we get praised for our accomplishments or not, I think that ties in to our view of money. So it's important for you to have a good, healthy view of money, of yourself. Is your self-esteem built around your view of money? Is your self-worth based on how much you have in your purse or what kind of purse you're carrying? Modern culture also, there's a heavy reinforcement regarding the idea that your net worth equals your self-worth. We hear that all the time. Media glorifies wealth and luxury and lifestyles and the hustle culture. Even language reflects it. I hear phrases, high value person, a successful entrepreneur, a six-figure earner. Those become shorthand for worthiness. And I think it's important to understand that when the dominant social narrative rewards productivity and profit, people internalize the beliefs that income measures value. And honestly, that's absolute bullshit. Because how much money you make does not equal your value. When self-worth is externally driven, comparisons become the measuring stick. And they can create some really, really unhealthy mindsets. So I think it's really important when social media magnifies, people see these folks as, it's a wins, it's a launch, or it's an income milestone. It makes you feel behind. Like, where's my launch? Where's my win? They're great and I'm a pile of poop. Validation from others, you hear this all the time. Oh, you're killing it. You're so successful. That can condition someone to equate money with love and approval or a sense of belonging. Are you working your ass off so that your boss says, oh, you're killing it? I know, because I've been there before. And I was breaking my butt. I was so attached to that man telling me that I was killing it that I realized that somewhere I wanted that, yeah, you've done a great job or you're good at this or that to come. And I really know that this sounds crazy, but because it was a male counterpart, I was busting my ass even more. But the price that I paid for that was ridiculous. And I swore to myself that I would never be triggered by those words ever again. I don't care if a Martian comes down and tells me I'm killing it. I am not going to, go crazy because I want that approval. I will try everything in my power to find a new way of thinking and reframing that idea. If you have tied your identity to being the provider or the achiever or the high performer, then income becomes the emotional proof of your worth. And without these external metrics, you may feel less than. And then all of a sudden, your insecurities pop up and you become paralyzed. Fear jumps in to really throw your butt in the dirt. And by the time all these emotions are done with you, you'll be lucky if you can get out of bed, let alone make a sales call. So let's take a sec and look at how you can reframe your self-worth and the feeling of that being hooked to your value, and unhook your self-worth from money, achievement, or productivity and re-anchor it in something that's stable and true. So here's a couple ways that have worked for me. I first go back and try to identify the original story. Where did I first learn that achievement equals worth? Who modeled this for me? When did I first feel that being productive made me enough? Well, like I mentioned in the story, I obviously never felt like I was enough. Commentary from my dad, God bless him. And I kept going back, wanting someday, some way for him to say that I was enough. I think naming the source helps you to see that this belief was learned and it wasn't true. Who gives a rat's ass whether he thinks I'm enough or not? Really, at the end of the day, he's not paying my mortgage. He's not raising my kids. He's not, buying my car that I like or preparing a beautiful meal. So really, who gives a rat's ass whether he thinks I'm enough or not? It's hard, but I think it's a good conversation to have with yourself. So naming the source helps you see that this belief was learned and it is not true. But more importantly, at least for me, looking at the source, who I learned it from or received the feeling about myself. Where did I get the idea? If I could identify the player in the cast of characters, then it was a lot easier for me to go, oh yeah, okay, I get it. And then I thought this was a really interesting suggestion that someone made, and that is that if you're connecting your self-worth to money, write up 2 columns. One, who I am, that I'm kind and curious and creative, I'm compassionate, I'm grounded, I think I've got a great sense of humor, I'm crazy from time to time. And then the second column is what I do. I'm a success strategist. I like to build businesses. It's in my DNA. I love it. I host a podcast. But who I am is not what I do. Who I am is me. What I do is what I love. But they're unhooked. They're not connected. One is not in demand of the other. So your being is who you truly are. It's the part that doesn't change with your income or with what's in your inbox or how much output. Who you are is what you value. It's at the core of who you are. And if you have to revisit your list daily to separate who you are from what you're building, then do it. Over time, your nervous system learns that worth isn't earned. It's inherent. It's a gift. It's what you were given. I also think it's important to redefine success. Shift your metric of success from results to alignment. I'm successful because I'm in alignment with what I want to do, that I want to help people, that I want to smooth their path, that I want to share some of the crazy, stupid mistakes that I've made in my career and lifetime so that you don't make the same mistake, or think it through and not lay awake at night and ask yourself, did I make enough money today? I mean, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, that's not the way you want to end your day. You want to end your day with, was I in alignment with my values? Do I honor my energy and my integrity? It's a simple, subtle reframe, but it does teach your brain that fulfillment and self-trust can be your new scorecard. Notice the voice of I'm not enough and try to put that aside. That's what I've been working on. And actually it works. I am enough. I'm enough for me. And that's the most important player in this cast, me. And I have come to the conclusion that, yeah, by God, I am enough because I was given some great gifts and I am smart enough to use them. So yeah, I'm enough. When you catch yourself thinking, I need to do more, just pause and ask, whose voice is that? Is that somebody telling you got to do more because you're not working hard enough? And then what am I afraid will happen if I stop? What's going to happen if I pause? Oh my God, if I take a 3-day vacation, what's going to happen? What's going to happen if I go lay down because I'm exhausted? What if I don't do any work this weekend and I focus entirely on, watching college football and the NFL and enjoying my time with my husband and watching a couple of great movies on Netflix? Is the sky going to fall? Is everything going to dry up? I don't think so. But it takes a lot of self-talk to get me to the point where I could relax. And to take the pause, to rewire the loop from automatic self-judgment to conscious self-inquiry. Practice worthiness in stillness. Sometimes the hardest and most healing practice is to not produce, to not do anything. And I always say, take a day, take an hour, Do nothing useful. Sit in the sun, say your prayers, talk to the universe. Think about all the wonderful pieces and people and parts in your life. And then notice what emotions surface. Do you have anxiety? Do you feel guilt because you sat on the couch in the middle of the day? Is there boredom? And then meet those feelings, that anxiety, those emotions with compassion instead of action. Take a look at them, turn them over, try to deal with them. You're teaching your body that stillness does not equal failure. And I say anchor in a few new beliefs. Create a few simple affirmations that feel real and they resonate with you. My worth is inherent, not earned. I'm valuable because I exist. Rest is productive because it restores me. Building a bold business, career, or life requires that you get your head around who you really are and use those amazing gifts you have been given. Your money story doesn't have to run the show. You can rewrite it at any time, and when you do, it transforms how you build and how you live. Remember, money isn't your enemy, and it certainly doesn't have to be your boss. With a small shift in your thinking, it can be one of the most valuable partners you will ever have. So this week, try to notice one old money belief that you're still carrying around. If you have to, write it down and then flip it into a new money belief, one that supports your growth. For example, change money is hard to make into money flows in. I create value. Whatever it takes, flip it and find a story that feels authentic and allows for your creative flow to be fresh and to feel of value and to give you balance of your self-worth and your net worth. So here's the part where I tell you exactly what I know. These are my knowings, the things I no longer question because they've shown themselves to me again and again. Not from a book, but from building, getting knocked down, getting back up, and doing this work in the real world. Okay, so here are my knowings. I know that my thoughts are incredibly powerful. They establish my view, my perspective, and how I see things. And these thoughts determine how I see and evaluate my value, my worth. And I know that my true value, my true worth can only be seen through my eyes and the eyes of the universe, not through the thoughts and the eyes of others. That's my number one knowing. Number two, I know that my self-worth as a human being is not linked to how much money I make or how many businesses I create successfully. To me, my self-worth and my crazy desire to build are very independent of others. Thank God. I know that this deep desire to create is just me being me, for better or for worse. And number three, I know, and I've said this before, I refuse to let someone else or their beliefs or their perspective define me. I'm writing this story. I'm the director. I'm the actor. I'm the coach. And here it is with the drum roll. This gives me all the editing rights along with script refusal. So there are my knowings. And I hope this will help you on your journey, especially with your story around money. Okay, so now it's time for our listener question. And here we go. This is from Lindsay in Sacramento, California. Great little town, Lindsay. I was born and raised there, so I hope all is going well in Sacktown. Okay, so here's Lindsay's question. What can I do to sustain my motivation? Getting it is one thing, but keeping it is another. No kidding. I totally get that question, and I certainly can speak from experience. So yes, isn't it just the thrill when you get the amazing flash of insight, the idea? You start to make the plan and you create a formula, you pack your suitcase, you grab your tools, and you are headed into the jungle of creation. I don't think there's anything more exciting than that moment when that original flash comes, you put all the pieces together, and oh my God, you're raring to go. And at first, it's a pretty smooth go. You're floating downstream toward your destination. Behind you is this amazing support team. They're so stoked. You've shared your idea, your dream, and they're so on board. And with tools in hand, they're there for you to help you slay the dragon. And then all of a sudden, you and your small caravan of committed adventurers run into an obstacle. It could be the boulder in the river. It could be a tribe of unfriendlies. Maybe members of your team get sick, cannot go on, or perhaps you're just low on water. Bottom line, no more smooth sailing. I know, I have been there a billion times. Your motivation begins to fade. Self-doubt comes creeping in, and you have to ask yourself, what the hell was I thinking? Trust me, I know exactly what it's like when you're there. So my answer to how do you keep it going? How do you sustain the motivation? What has worked for me is a real simple revisit. So when it's time to that I always say, grab a coconut, go sit under a palm tree, and just be still. Try to take yourself back to the beginning. I try to revisit the original, the deep need I had originally for the creation. What was my original reason? What was the inspiration that floated in to help me create that original idea? What was the very thing that really was the floodgate that opened the idea, that flushed it out for me? Feel that rush, that knowing, that flame. It was the why. You knew the why then, and you know it now. You have everything you need to move forward. It's about going back and revisiting that original place of spark. And once you've done that, sit with it. Feel that original flash for a bit. It'll light you up again. And then with a clear head, regroup. Evaluate the current situation, find the drain, what's stealing the passion, what's the determination. Maybe you have to make a few adjustments on the original plan to get excited again. And excitement will start to come back. Circle the troops, and then reboot, baby, reboot. Forge on. The path is never straight. Your tank gets slow, but in your heart you know that you know. And honestly, that's where you will always find your fifth gear. You go back, you revisit, you regroup, and you reboot. And you will find your fifth gear. And you'll move forward with just as much excitement as you did on the original rollout. So thank you, Lindsay. That was a really, really good question. Absolutely, I've been there. And also, I might add the very last piece. Don't try to make these decisions when you're tired. When I say go grab a coconut and sit under the tree, I mean that. Go get still. Get your energy up. Exhaustion can really play some dark tricks on you. So when you're sitting under the tree, having your coconut or, a nice martini with a green olive, whatever, allow yourself to have some time to refresh and then go back and reboot. Great question. Well, it's that time. Thanks for joining me on today's episode of Build It Baby. I just want you to know your worth is your worth. And the key word here is your. It is your build. You write the script. If you don't like the script, then change it. And I say, leave the bullshit on the cutting room floor and build it, baby. Always best, P. Build It Baby is a Rainy Day Production House original, hosted by Penelope Bent and produced and edited by Morgan Clymer. Music by Yuri Shemshashen and Oleksiy Holobiev. If this episode spoke to you, please follow the show and leave a review. It helps more dreamers like you find us. And remember, you're not just building a bold business or a career, you're building a bold life.